Hello, welcome to another episode of Arthritis and You, a joint journey. Today, we've got something special lined up, so buckle up because it's time for the deep dive. Let's give a warm welcome to our hosts, Arthur and Sarah.
All right, so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into those dreaded rheumatoid arthritis flares. You know, RA is an autoimmune disease where like your immune system kind of goes rogue and attacks your joints, which leads to like all sorts of problems, pain, stiffness, inflammation. So our mission today is to try to help equip you with the knowledge to help navigate these flares and hopefully, minimize the impact they can have on your life.
Well, and we've got some really great sources to kind of guide us. Two really in-depth videos from Alberta Rheumatology. They're known for their, solid expertise in the field.
Perfect. So first things first, what exactly defines an RA flare? I mean, we all have bad days, right? How is it different?
Yeah, you're right. It's not just a case of the Mondays. Think of it this way. A flare is when your arthritis that was previously well controlled, it suddenly decides to like roar back to life. It's like that smoldering fire that unexpectedly bursts into flames.
Oh, ouch. That's a pretty vivid image. So we're talking about like a noticeable surge in pain, stiffness, swelling, maybe even fatigue.
Exactly. And here's the thing. The duration and frequency of these flares, it can vary so much from person to person. Some people might experience a short burst, like lasting a day or two, while others might grapple with these flares that linger for weeks or even months.
Wow, that unpredictability, it must just add like an extra layer of challenge to managing RA. It's like you never really know what to expect. In your experience, like what are some of the common things that can trigger these flares?
It can be a bit of a puzzle, trying to figure out the triggers for each person, but some of the usual suspects include stress. That always seems to make things worse. Infections, even something as common as like a cold, and sudden changes in treatment. And believe it or not, there's some emerging research that is pointing to a connection between dental hygiene and RA flare.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me that brushing my teeth could actually help ward off a flare? Now, that's some serious motivation to keep up with those dentist appointments.
It might sound surprising, but there's this fascinating connection between oral health and the gut microbiome, which plays a role in immune regulation. More on that later. I think the key takeaway here is that RA is a very individualized disease. So what triggers a flare for one person might not even phase another person at all.
So it's like detective work, figuring out your own personal triggers. And speaking of detective work, let's say a flare does hit. What are some of the first-line strategies for managing it in the short term? Like if it's just a day or two of increased symptoms.
Well, adaptability is key. You might need to adjust your schedule, maybe ask for a helping hand with tasks that become difficult, or have those, trusty assistive devices ready to go.
Yeah, I imagine even small tweaks to your daily routine could make a big difference during a flare. Things like, using a jar opener in the kitchen or asking a family member to help with chores.
Exactly. And never underestimate the power of rest and stress management. Giving your body time to recover is crucial. And stress just tends to fan the flames of inflammation.
That makes sense. But what about medication? What options are available for short-term relief?
Well, over-the-counter anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen or naproxen, they can often provide some temporary relief. And if those aren't cutting it, your rheumatologist might prescribe you stronger anti-inflammatories or even a short course of corticosteroids. And there's been growing interest in the potential role of natural health products, too.
Oh, okay. Things like turmeric or fish oil. I've heard those mentioned in connection with inflammation.
You're on the right track. But always have a conversation with your rheumatologist before incorporating any natural health products, just to make sure there aren't any potential interactions with your other medications.
Yeah, safety first, absolutely. So short-term flare management is all about adapting, resting, and potentially using medication to ease those symptoms. But what about when a flare decides to, overstay its welcome and lingers for weeks or even months? That sounds pretty daunting.
That's where the distinction between a long-term flare and simply having active disease, it becomes important. A long-term flare signals a significant shift in your condition that needs to be addressed. It's not just a blip on the radar.
So if you find yourself in that situation, what's the first step?
Reaching out to your rheumatologist is crucial. Communication is key in this journey. They might need to adjust your disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, or DMARDs for short. Yeah. These medications are the heavy hitters, They're designed to slow down the progression of RA and tame that inflammation.
DMARDs.
Yeah.
They sound pretty serious. What exactly do they do? I'm picturing them as like little warriors fighting off the inflammation.
That's not a bad analogy. They work by suppressing the immune system's attack on the joints. There are many different types of DMARDs, each with its own mechanism of action and potential side effects. Some are biologics, which are genetically engineered proteins, while others are conventional DMARDs, which are small molecule drugs.
So finding the right DMARD is a bit like finding the perfect key for a very specific lock. It might take some trial and error to figure out what works best for you.
You got it. It's a collaborative process between you and your rheumatologist.
Okay, so we've talked about managing those flares, both the quick bursts and the longer hauls. But wouldn't it be amazing if we could prevent them from happening in the first place? Is that even possible?
Absolutely. Preventing flares is a major goal in RA management. And the foundation for that is optimal disease control. We're talking about aiming for no pain, no stiffness, no limitations, living your life to the fullest.
Now, that's a goal worth striving for. But it sounds like a pretty tall order. How do we get there?
Oh, it's a multifaceted approach. Medication plays a crucial role, of course. But there are also several lifestyle factors that can significantly impact your risk of flares. Think of it as, empowering yourself to take control of your RA.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are these lifestyle power moves we can make?
Let's start with the big one, smoking. The data is crystal clear on this. Smoking is detrimental to RA. It not only ramps up disease activity, but it also throws a wrench in the effectiveness of treatment.
So if you're a smoker and you're looking for another reason to kick the habit, here it is. Your joints will be doing a happy dance.
Next up, we have weight control. Carrying excess weight, it puts added stress on your joints and contributes to inflammation throughout your body.
Yeah, makes sense. It's like those extra pounds are adding fuel to the fire. What about exercise? Is it safe or even beneficial for people with RA? I imagine it's a delicate balance.
You're right. It's all about finding that sweet spot. Staying active is absolutely crucial for maintaining joint health, strength, and flexibility. However, it's essential to listen to your body and respect those pain signals. Low-impact activities like swimming, walking, or cycling are often good choices.
So it's not about pushing through the pain, but rather finding ways to move your body that feel good. And speaking of things that feel good, this next one surprised me. Dental hygiene. I never would have connected that to RA.
It's one of those connections that's becoming clearer as research unfolds. It might seem unrelated at first glance, but emerging science is pointing to a potential link between oral health and RA.
Yeah.
And it all boils down to the gut microbiome, that vast community of trillions of bacteria living in our digestive tracts.
Oh, the gut microbiome. Everyone's talking about it these days.
Yeah.
But how does it relate to RA, and what does brushing my teeth have to do with it?
Hold that thought. We're about to dive into that fascinating world after a quick break. Okay, so we were just about to unpack that fascinating world of the gut microbiome and its potential link to RA. It's a hot topic in medical research these days, and for good reason. Think of it as this vast, intricate ecosystem teeming with like trillions of bacteria. They're just residing in your digestive tract. And increasingly, research suggests that it plays like a crucial role in our overall health, particularly when it comes to regulating our immune system.
Okay, so we've got this bustling metropolis of bacteria in our gut, and it's somehow connected to our immune system.
Yeah.
But how does that tie into RA, which is all about the immune system attacking the joints?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We talked about RA being an autoimmune disease, so that means the immune system is basically misfiring. It's mistakenly attacking the joints as if they were foreign invaders. And here's the fascinating part. The gut microbiome actually helps train and regulate our immune system. It's like a boot camp for those immune cells. So if something disrupts the balance of bacteria in our gut, think of it like throwing off that delicate ecosystem. It could potentially lead to like an overactive immune response, which can contribute to inflammation and trigger those pesky RA flares.
So it's like this domino effect. An imbalance in the gut leads to like a wonky immune system, which then sets its sights on the joints. That's wild. It makes you wonder about all the things that can impact our gut microbiome.
Absolutely. And that's where the connection to dental hygiene comes into play. Think of your mouth as the gateway to your gut.
So the bacteria in our mouths can journey down to our gut and influence the microbiome there.
Precisely. If you're not keeping up with those dental hygiene habits, brushing, flossing, regular checkups, harmful bacteria can proliferate in your mouth, and those troublemakers can potentially hitch a ride down to your gut, disrupting the balance of your microbiome and contributing to RA flares. It's like welcoming unruly guests to your carefully curated ecosystem.
Wow, that makes so much sense. I'm starting to see how all these seemingly unrelated things, like brushing our teeth, managing stress, they're all interconnected when it comes to RA. It's like a giant web, and you have to address all the strands.
That's the beauty of like a holistic approach to health. It's about understanding those intricate connections and how seemingly small changes can ripple through your entire system. So to answer your question about what you can do to support a healthy gut microbiome, diet plays a huge role. Nourishing your gut with a diet rich in fiber, fruits, vegetables, and fermented foods. Think yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi. They can help foster those beneficial bacteria.
So those trendy gut-healthy smoothies everyone's raving about might actually have some merit.
They might, but remember, it's always a good idea to chat with your doctor or a registered dietitian. Before making any major dietary shifts, they can help you create a plan that's tailored to your individual needs.
Personalized guidance is key. Now, besides diet, are there any other tools in our gut health arsenal?
Well, probiotics are a popular option. They're essentially supplements containing live beneficial bacteria that can help replenish and diversify the gut microbiome. Think of them as like reinforcements for your gut's army of good bacteria.
I've heard mixed things about probiotics. Do they really live up to the hype?
The research is still ongoing, but there's a growing body of evidence suggesting that certain strains of probiotics can be beneficial for digestive health and immune function, but it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
So it's worth exploring. But again, it's wise to consult with your healthcare provider to see if probiotics are right for you and which strains might be most beneficial. It's all about that personalized approach.
Couldn't agree more. Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about another aspect highlighted in the videos. The potential role of natural health products in managing RA.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, there's been increasing interest in the use of things like turmeric, the golden spice that seems to be everywhere these days, fish oil and glucosamine for RA symptom relief.
Turmeric lattes and fish oil capsules. Sounds pretty approachable. But do these natural remedies have any real scientific backing?
The evidence is mixed, and more research is definitely needed. Some studies have shown promising results, suggesting that certain natural products might help reduce inflammation and ease pain, while other studies haven't been as conclusive.
So it's not a guaranteed cure-all, but it could be worth exploring as part of a comprehensive management plan.
Exactly, but again, it's crucial to loop in your rheumatologist before adding any natural health products to your regimen. They can help you assess the potential benefits and risks, and make sure there are no interactions with your other medications.
Safety first, always. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground so far. We've talked about working closely with your rheumatologist, understanding your unique triggers, adopting a holistic approach to RA management, including those lifestyle modifications, and potentially exploring natural health products. But what about those times when, despite your best efforts, a flare still manages to sneak up on you? What are some practical tips for navigating those rough patches?
That's such an important question. Even with like the most diligently crafted management plan, flares can still happen. It's like those unexpected storms that roll in, even when the forecast looked sunny. So let's talk about weathering those flare-up storms.
Yep.
First and foremost, remember that it's okay to not be okay. Flares can be incredibly frustrating and disheartening. Allow yourself to feel those emotions without judgment. It's not about being weak or giving in. It's about acknowledging the reality of the situation.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught in that I should be doing more. Yeah, but sometimes recognizing your limitations and giving yourself permission to rest and recharge is the most powerful thing you can do.
Couldn't agree more. This is where that concept of adaptation we talked about earlier comes into play. During a flare, you might need to modify your activities and lean on your support system for help with tasks that become difficult.
So if you're used to hitting the gym for like a high-intensity workout, maybe switch gears to a gentle walk in nature or a relaxing swim. And don't be afraid to ask your loved ones for a helping hand with everyday tasks like cooking, cleaning, or childcare. It's not about pushing yourself beyond your limits. It's about conserving your energy and focusing on healing.
Exactly. And here's another tip that I find incredibly helpful. Create a flare toolkit for yourself. Think of it as your personalized arsenal of resources and strategies that can help you navigate those stormy flare-up days.
A flare toolkit. I love that. What sorts of things would we pack in this toolkit?
Well, first and foremost, make sure your prescribed medications are easily accessible and that you have a clear understanding of how and when to take them. It's also a good idea to have any assistive devices you rely on readily available. So if you use a cane or walker, make sure they're nearby. And don't forget about comfort items, things that bring you a sense of peace and relaxation. This could be a heating pad, a cozy blanket, a good book, a soothing playlist, anything that helps you unwind and de-stress.
It's like having a personalized first aid kit for your RA flares, stocked with everything you need to soothe those symptoms and support your well-being. What else can we add to our toolkit?
Don't underestimate the power of mindfulness and relaxation techniques. Deep breathing exercises, meditation, or gentle yoga can work wonders in calming your nervous system and reducing stress, which can, in turn, help lessen the severity of your symptoms.
It's amazing how these simple practices can have such a profound impact on both our mental and physical health.
They really can. And of course, we can't forget about pain management strategies beyond medication. There are several non-pharmacological approaches that can provide relief during a flare.
I'm all for exploring those options. What are some examples?
Well, heat or cold therapy is a classic go-to. Applying heat or cold to those achy joints can often provide temporary relief. It's all about experimenting to see what works best for you. Massage can also be incredibly beneficial, helping to relax those tight muscles and improve circulation. And some people find relief through acupuncture or transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation, TENS, which involves using a small device that delivers electrical impulses to the skin to help block pain signals.
That's quite a toolbox of pain management techniques. It's all about finding what resonates with your body and provides that much-needed relief.
Precisely. And remember, managing a flare is not about being stoic or pushing through the pain. It's about being kind to yourself, adapting as needed, and reaching out for support when you need it. It's a journey, not a battle.
Well said. It's all about finding that delicate balance between staying active and honoring your body's limits. Now, in the videos, they emphasize the importance of working closely with your rheumatologist. But they also mention the concept of a rheumatology team. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
That's a great point. You're not alone in this journey. Managing RA often involves a multidisciplinary approach, meaning you might benefit from the expertise of several healthcare professionals, not just your rheumatologist.
So it's like assembling a dream team to support you on your RA journey. Who might be on this all-star roster?
Well, depending on your individual needs and the complexities of your condition, your team might include a nurse practitioner who can provide education, monitor your symptoms, and help you navigate the world of medications. You might also work with a physical therapist who can guide you through exercises to improve strength, flexibility, and range of motion, which can be especially helpful during and after flares. And an occupational therapist can work wonders in helping you adapt your home and work environments to make daily activities easier, particularly if you're facing limitations due to RA.
It's all about making life a little easier and a little more comfortable. Are there any other specialists who might join this RA Dream Team?
Absolutely. A registered dietitian can be a valuable asset, providing personalized guidance on nutrition and helping you craft a diet plan that supports your overall health and potentially helps reduce inflammation. And let's not forget about the importance of mental health. A psychologist or counselor can provide invaluable support in coping with the emotional challenges of living with a chronic condition like RA. They can equip you with tools and strategies to manage stress, anxiety, and pain, and help you cultivate a positive mindset.
Wow, that's quite a comprehensive team. It really highlights the importance of taking a holistic approach to RA management, addressing not just the physical symptoms, but also the emotional and practical aspects of living with this condition.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's about recognizing that you are not alone, that there's a whole team of experts ready to support you every step of the way.
That's so reassuring to hear. Well, I think we've delved pretty deep into this topic of coping with flares. We've talked about practical tips for riding out those flare-ups, the importance of creating your own personalized flare toolkit, and the power of assembling a multidisciplinary team to support you on your RA journey. Now, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the idea that research in the field of RA is constantly evolving. It seems like there are always new discoveries on the horizon, which is both exciting and maybe a little overwhelming.
You're absolutely right. RA research is a dynamic and an ever-changing landscape. Scientists around the world are working tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of this complex disease, develop more effective and targeted treatments, and ultimately, find a cure. It's a field that's buzzing with activity and brimming with hope.
That's incredibly encouraging to hear. What are some of the areas of research that are generating the most excitement right now?
One area that's particularly promising is personalized medicine. Researchers are delving deep into the genetic and molecular underpinnings of RA, searching for specific biomarkers that can predict how individuals will respond to different treatments. It's like trying to crack a personalized code for each person's RA.
So instead of the traditional one-size-fits-all approach to treatment, it's about moving towards a more tailored approach, finding the right treatment for the right person at the right time.
You've got it. It's all about precision medicine, minimizing side effects, and maximizing effectiveness by targeting the specific pathways driving each person's RA. Another fascinating area of research that we touched on earlier is the gut microbiome. We've talked about its potential connection to RA, and scientists are now exploring ways to manipulate the microbiome to potentially prevent or even treat the disease.
So, could we one day see probiotics or other microbiome-based therapies becoming part of standard RA care? It's like we're on the cusp of a whole new frontier in medicine.
It's definitely a possibility. There are ongoing clinical trials investigating the use of fecal microbiota transplantation, FMT for RA.
FMT. That sounds intriguing and maybe a little intense. Can you explain what that entails?
It involves transferring fecal matter from a healthy donor to a patient with RA. It might sound a bit out there, but the idea is to essentially repopulate the patient's gut with a healthy, diverse community of bacteria. Think of it as a microbiome makeover.
It's like hitting the reset button on the gut microbiome, giving it a fresh start with a healthy dose of beneficial bacteria.
Exactly. And of course, the quest for new medications is an ongoing endeavor. There's a constant flow of new drugs in development, including more targeted therapies that aim to specifically block those inflammatory pathways that are wreaking havoc in RA.
So it sounds like the future RA treatment is looking pretty bright. It's encouraging to know that there's so much research and innovation happening in this field.
I'd say so. While there's still much to learn and many challenges to overcome, the progress being made is truly remarkable. It's an exciting time to be involved in RA research and care.
I'm feeling a surge of hope. But in the meantime, what can our listeners do to stay informed about these advancements? How can they keep up with this rapidly evolving field?
That's a great question. Knowledge is power, as they say. There are several reputable organizations that provide reliable, up-to-date information about RA research and treatment. I highly recommend checking out resources from the Arthritis Foundation, the American College of Rheumatology, and the National Institutes of Health. These organizations offer a wealth of information on everything from the latest research findings to practical tips for managing RA in daily life.
And of course, staying connected with your rheumatologist is crucial. They're your trusted guide on this journey, and they can keep you informed about any new developments that might be relevant to your personal care plan. It's a partnership, and open communication is key.
Absolutely. Your rheumatologist is your best resource for personalized guidance and support.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into managing and preventing those pesky RA flares. We've explored the ins and outs of what triggers flares, how to navigate those challenging flare-up moments, and the exciting advancements on the horizon. As we wrap up, what are your key takeaways for our listeners? What do you hope they'll walk away with?
I think the most important message is this. While RA is a chronic condition that presents unique challenges, it's a manageable condition. With the right knowledge, strategies, and support, you can absolutely live a full and active life, embracing all that life has to offer despite this diagnosis. It's not about letting RA define you. It's about finding ways to thrive and live your best life.
That's a beautiful message of empowerment. It's about taking charge of your health, advocating for your needs, and finding those glimmers of hope amidst the challenges.
Exactly. And remember, the world of RA research is constantly evolving. New discoveries are being made all the time, and there's always reason to be hopeful. So stay curious, stay informed, and stay empowered on your RA journey. You've got this.
Beautifully said. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey of knowledge and discovery. We hope you found this deep dive into RA management and prevention insightful and empowering. If you have any questions or suggestions for future deep dives, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us on all the usual podcast platforms or visit our website and website address. Until next time, stay curious and keep diving deep into the world of knowledge.
This has been another episode of Arthritis and You, A Joint Journey, brought to you by the Rheum team from albertarheumatology.com. Your trusted, evidence-based suite of resources available 24/7. Straight from Alberta, but for folks around the world. Our hosts today, Arthritis and Sarah Upis, technical producer, John Ifan, and our executive producer, Stephen Cates. While we work hard to maintain the accuracy of our information, we accept no legal responsibility for any errors or omissions. Remember, always check with your own physician first. Join us next time for another Deep Dive.